Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever seen an eagle in the middle of a storm? The winds are howling, the clouds are dark, and the rain is falling violently. But the eagle does not panic. It does not flap its wings in fear. Instead, it spreads its wings and rises higher above the storm. Why? Because it understands something powerful. Chaos is temporary, but control is eternal. Now, let me ask you, when challenges hit your life, do you act like the eagle and rise above the storm, or do you allow fear and frustration to control you? Today, I want to share with you a principle that can change your life forever. Train your mind to be calm in every situation. There was once a wealthy businessman who had everything: a successful company, a beautiful home, and a happy family. But one day, disaster struck. His business collapsed, his wealth disappeared overnight, and he found himself with nothing. People expected him to break down, to be filled with anger and bitterness. But instead, he smiled. A journalist asked him, "How can you be so calm when you have lost everything?" He replied, "Because I did not lose everything. I still have my mind. And as long as I have my mind, that, my friends, is the power of a calm mind. When your mind is strong, no storm can shake you." 7K APINCPSOs, TIUMI. TOB killing calentural your resposi. Nati TSUIO, life is unpredictable. Problems will come without warning. Challenges will rise when you least expect them. And people will test your patience when you are already struggling. But hear me today. Your power does not lie in controlling what happens to you. Your power lies in controlling how you respond to it. Look around you. Some people go through small difficulties and fall apart completely, while others face massive storms and remain steady like a mountain. What is the difference? It is not their intelligence. It is not their wealth. It is not even their experience. The difference is their response. Let me tell you a story. A man was driving to an important business meeting, one that could change his life forever. He had prepared for months. Everything was perfect. But on the way, traffic came to a complete stop. Cars weren't moving. Horns were blaring. Time was slipping away. His heart started racing. "Why is this happening now?" he shouted, gripping the steering wheel. The more frustrated he became, the worse he felt. By the time he finally arrived, he was stressed, angry, and completely unprepared for the meeting. And guess what? He lost the opportunity. Now, let's look at another man in the same situation. The same traffic, the same delay, but a different mindset. When the car stopped moving, he took a deep breath. Instead of shouting, he said, "I cannot control the traffic, but I can control my energy." He turned on an audiobook, smiled at the chaos around him, and told himself, "This is just a test of patience." By the time he arrived, he was calm, focused, and ready. And guess what? He got the deal. Both men faced the same situation. The difference: one reacted, the other responded. You see, life is like a stormy ocean. The waves will rise, the wind will blow, but you are the captain of your own ship. If you panic, you will drown. If you stay calm, you will navigate through anything. Some of you are facing difficult situations right now. Maybe someone betrayed you. Maybe your business is struggling. Maybe your family is falling apart. Maybe your dreams seem impossible. And I know it is tempting to break down, to lash out, to scream at the universe and ask, "Why me?" But listen closely. You don't need to control the storm. You just need to control yourself. Your emotions are like fire. If you don't learn to control them, they will burn everything around you. Your relationships, your career, your peace of mind. But if you master them, they will become your power. Have you ever seen a martial artist before a fight? He does not panic. He does not scream. He stands still. He breathes. He understands that in order to win the battle, he must first win against himself. The greatest battles in life are not fought with weapons or words. They are fought within. When your boss disrespects you, will you explode with anger or will you keep your dignity? When someone spreads lies about you, Will you waste your energy arguing? Or will you stay focused on your goals? When you fail at something, will you sit down and cry? Or will you rise again with more wisdom? Do you understand now? Power does not come from controlling situations. It comes from controlling yourself. Look at the most successful people in the world. Do you think they never face problems? Do you think they never deal with pressure? No. The only difference is they have trained their minds to be stronger than their emotions. A wise man once said, if you are the master of your mind, no one can be your master. Think about that. Nobody can steal your peace if you do not allow them to. Nobody can shake your confidence if you refuse to give them that power. The moment you learn to respond instead of react, you become untouchable. When people insult you, you smile. When situations get hard, you remain steady. When life knocks you down, you stand up with a new plan. And that, my friends, is the secret to rising above every storm. So the next time life throws a challenge at you, stop and ask yourself, can I control this situation? If the answer is no, then shift your focus. Do not waste your energy fighting things you cannot change. Use that energy to master yourself, and you will walk through every storm like an eagle soaring through the sky. Dio not alo Thomas T.O.B. Yoyur Mestar. There will always be moments in life when emotions try to take control. Something happens, a situation arises, and before you even think, you feel anger boiling inside you, or fear creeping into your heart, or frustration tightening its grip around your mind. In those moments, emotions whisper, react now. Say something. Do something. But the question is, who is in control? You or your emotions? Imagine walking through a marketplace and someone bumps into you and spills coffee on your new shirt. Your instant reaction. Anger. Your blood pressure rises, your heart races, and words are on the tip of your tongue, ready to explode. But stop and think. Does getting angry change what happened? Does yelling at the person make the coffee disappear? No. But what it does do is steal your peace for the rest of the day. It turns a small moment into a ruined mood, and that ruined mood spreads into your work, your home, and your conversations. Think about this. If you were holding a glass of water and someone shook your arm, what would spill out? Water. Why? Because that is what was inside. Life will shake you, people will test you, situations will challenge you. But what spills out of you is what was already inside of you. If frustration is inside, that is what will come out. If impatience is inside, that is what will be seen. But if self-control is inside you, if peace is inside you, then no matter how much life shakes you, that is what will flow out. The truth is, emotions are powerful. They can push you to do great things, but if you let them control you, they will lead you to destruction. Have you ever sent a text in anger and regretted it the moment you hit send? Have you ever made a decision in frustration and later realized it was the worst choice possible? That is what happens when emotions become the master and logic becomes the servant. There was once a man who built a successful company with years of hard work. He was respected, known for his leadership, and admired by many. One day, a small misunderstanding happened in a board meeting. Instead of staying calm and addressing the issue wisely, he allowed his anger to take over. He raised his voice, insulted his partners, and stormed out. The damage was done. Trust was broken. Relationships were shattered. Within months, everything he had built came crashing down, not because of external circumstances, but because he allowed his emotions to be his master. Think about a chess player. A beginner plays with emotion, reacting quickly, moving pieces in frustration, making hasty decisions. But a master plays with strategy. A master stays calm. A master does not allow a single move to shake their focus. And that is why they win. You must train yourself to be like that chess master in life. When someone offends you, take a breath before you respond. When things don't go your way, step back before making a decision. Do not allow emotions to lead you down a road that you will later regret. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. and you see your reflection. But instead of a calm and controlled face, you see someone panicked, angry, or broken. Ask yourself, is this the person I want to be? If not, then it is time to take control. Because every time you let anger speak for you, every time you let fear hold you back, you are allowing something else to be the driver of your life. And the truth is, emotions were never meant to be the driver. They were meant to be the passenger. A storm may rage outside, but a skilled captain does not let the waves control the ship. He holds the wheel steady. He does not panic. He does not allow the water to dictate his path. In the same way, emotions may rise within you, but you must hold the wheel of your mind steady. A person who masters their emotions masters their destiny. A person who can walk through fire and remain calm is a person who cannot be broken. Do not be a slave to emotions. Control them, or they will control you. Silenciovrest on silence is one of the most powerful weapons a person can have, yet very few understand its value. Most people believe that when faced with conflict, challenges, or disrespect, they must react instantly, defend themselves, or fight back with words. But the truth is, power does not always lie in how loudly you speak. It lies in your ability to remain silent when necessary. Imagine this. You're in a heated argument. Someone insults you, questions your character, or accuses you of something that isn't true. Your instinct is to fire back, to prove them wrong, to make sure they know they cannot disrespect you. But stop for a moment and ask yourself, will my reaction change the situation? Or will it just add fuel to the fire? There was once a wise man who was known for his ability to stay calm no matter what. One day, an angry young man approached him, shouting insults, trying to provoke him, trying to make him react. The wise man stood there, watching, listening, but never saying a word. The young man became more and more frustrated, yelling even louder. Finally, exhausted, the young man asked, "Why aren't you saying anything? Why aren't you defending yourself?" The wise man smiled and asked, "If someone offers you a gift and you refuse to take it, who does the gift belong to?" The young man, confused, replied, "It still belongs to the one who offered it." The wise man nodded, "Exactly. In the same way, I do not accept your anger, your insults, or your frustration. They still belong to you." That is the power of silence. When you refuse to react, when you refuse to accept negativity, it stays with the person who gave it. It does not enter your heart. It does not shake your peace. And it does not control your emotions. But most people do the opposite. Someone disrespects them and they react instantly. Someone lies about them and they rush to defend themselves. Someone criticizes them and they waste their energy proving a point. But here is the truth. Not every battle is meant to be fought, and not every word deserves a response. Think of an eagle. When a crow starts pecking at it, the eagle does not waste energy fighting. It does not turn around and attack. Instead, it simply spreads its wings and flies higher. The higher it goes, the harder it is for the crow to keep up. Eventually, the crow falls away exhausted. This is what you must do in life. There will always be people who try to drag you down. There will always be situations that try to test your patience. But instead of engaging, instead of lowering yourself to their level, rise above it. Do not respond to everything that tries to provoke you. Do not waste your energy fighting battles that do not matter. Have you ever noticed how the loudest person in the room is not always the most powerful? True strength is not in volume, it is in control. The strongest people are not those who argue the most, but those who know when to remain silent. Silence is not weakness. Silence is wisdom. Silence is the ability to walk away from foolishness without letting it consume you. Picture a glass of muddy water. If you keep stirring it, the water remains cloudy. But if you let it sit, the dirt settles and the water becomes clear. This is what silence does to your mind. When you constantly react, constantly engage in conflict, your mind remains restless. But when you practice silence, when you step back instead of stepping in, your thoughts become clear, your decisions become wiser, and your energy is preserved. Think about social media. Someone posts a negative comment about you, and suddenly you feel the urge to respond, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But ask yourself, does your response change their mind? Or does it simply give them the attention they were looking for? Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. There was a businessman who was falsely accused by his competitors. The accusations spread everywhere, on the news, on social media, in the industry. Everyone expected him to react, to release a statement, to fight back. But he remained silent. People thought he was weak. They thought his silence meant defeat. But what they didn't realize was that while they were busy spreading rumors, he was busy working, building, growing. And in the end, when the truth came out, his success spoke louder than any words ever could. That is the power of silence. When you refuse to react, you keep your focus. When you refuse to engage in foolishness, you keep your energy. And when you let your actions, your success, and your results speak for you, no amount of noise can shake you. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, the next time a situation tries to steal your peace, take a breath and ask yourself, is my reaction worth my energy? If the answer is no, then smile, stay silent, and rise above it. Taiki BFO or AIO speak. Or ACT, imagine standing at the edge of a cliff, looking down at the deep canyon below. One wrong step, one careless move, and everything could change in an instant. Now, think about this. How many times in life do we stand at the edge of a decision, at the edge of a moment that could define us? And instead of pausing, instead of thinking, we leap without looking. Words and actions are like arrows. Once released, they cannot be taken back. Have you ever said something in anger and wished you could rewind time? Have you ever made a quick decision out of frustration, only to regret it later? Most people have. Because most people do not stop to think before they speak or act. They allow their emotions to be the driver, and emotions, if left unchecked, can lead you down a road of regret. A man once walked into a shop and asked the shopkeeper for a favor. The shopkeeper, already having a rough day, snapped, "I don't have time for this." The man nodded, smiled, and left. Later that evening, the shopkeeper found out that the man he had dismissed so rudely was the owner of a company that was planning to do business with him. In a single moment of impatience, he had destroyed an opportunity, all because he spoke without thinking. How often do we do the same? We react to a situation without considering the consequences. We say things in anger, not realizing the wounds they leave behind. We make impulsive choices, not seeing how they shape our future. But wisdom is in restraint. Strength is in self-control. A wise man once said, "Before you speak, let your words pass through 3 gates. Is it true? Is it necessary? Is it kind?" If we all followed this rule, how many relationships would be saved? How many conflicts would be avoided? How many regrets would be erased? Picture this. You are in an argument with someone you care about. They say something that hurts you, something unfair. Your first instinct is to fire back, to prove a point, to make them feel the same pain you just felt. But before you open your mouth, imagine your words like a stone in your hand. Once you throw it, you cannot take it back. Even if you apologize later, the damage is done. The wound remains. Now, imagine choosing not to throw the stone. Imagine taking a deep breath, pausing, and responding with wisdom instead of emotion. In that moment, you become the master of the situation. You control the outcome instead of letting the situation control you. Great leaders, great thinkers, great warriors, they all share one trait, the ability to think before they act. A general does not send his army into battle without a plan. A doctor does not perform surgery without first diagnosing the patient. A businessman does not invest without calculating the risks. Then why should you? Why should you make decisions without thinking? Why should you let emotions dictate your words? There was once a young man who worked in a small company. He had dreams of rising, of achieving great things. One day his boss criticized him harshly in front of everyone. Anger boiled inside him. He wanted to quit, to tell his boss exactly what he thought. But instead, he took a deep breath. He reminded himself, this moment will pass, but my reaction will shape my future. Instead of reacting, he worked harder, proved his value, and years later, he was promoted to a position higher than the very boss who had insulted him. Had he reacted in the moment, had he allowed his emotions to take control, his story would have been different. This is the power of patience. This is the strength of self-restraint. Every day, life will test you. People will challenge you. Situations will push you to your limits. But the real question is not what happens to you, but how you respond. Do you let your emotions decide for you, or do you take control? A man once asked a monk, "What is the secret to peace?" The monk smiled and replied, "Pause. Just pause. Between your impulse and your action, create space. In that space, you will find wisdom." So, the next time you feel the urge to react, the next time emotions rise like a storm inside you, remember to pause. Think before you speak. Think before you act. Because the decisions you make in a moment can define you for a lifetime. False. No problems. Every single person in this world will face problems. It does not matter how rich you are, how educated you are, or how powerful you think you are. Problems will find you. Life does not give anyone a free pass. The only difference between people who succeed and people who stay stuck is where they put their focus. Some people spend their entire lives complaining about what went wrong, who hurt them, and why life is unfair. Others take the same pain, the same obstacles, and turn them into opportunities. The difference, they focus on solutions, not problems. Imagine you are driving, and suddenly, your car breaks down in the middle of the road. You step out frustrated. You have two choices. You can either stand there, complaining about how unlucky you are, blaming the car company, cursing the situation and waiting for someone to come and fix it. Or you can take control, call for help, check under the hood, and find a way forward. Now, tell me, which of these two people will reach their destination? The one who complains or the one who takes action? Life is exactly like that broken car. Things will go wrong, obstacles will appear, and unexpected problems will block your path. But your progress depends entirely on how you respond. Successful people do not waste time complaining about what is broken. They fix it. They do not sit down and cry over missed opportunities. They create new ones. They do not waste energy blaming others. They take responsibility and move forward. Because they understand something that most people never learn. Energy flows where focus goes. Let me tell you about two employees in the same company. Both of them face the same challenges: tight deadlines, office politics, and unfair treatment from their boss. The first employee spends all his time complaining. Every day, he talks about how much he hates his job, how unfair his boss is, and how he is stuck. But he does nothing to change it. The second employee faces the same problems, but has a different mindset. Instead of focusing on what is wrong, he focuses on what he can control. He learns new skills, builds better relationships, and finds solutions instead of excuses. A few years later, the first employee is still stuck in the same place, still complaining. But the second employee, he has moved up, taken new opportunities, and built a successful career. What was the difference? Focus. One focused on the problem, the other focused on the solution. There was once a wise man who sat by a river, watching a scorpion struggle in the water. The scorpion was drowning. The wise man reached out to save it, but the moment he touched it, the scorpion stung him. He pulled his hand back in pain. But then he reached out again, and again, the scorpion stung him. A man watching nearby laughed and said, "Why do you keep trying to save it? Can't you see it will only sting you?" The wise man smiled and said, "Just because it's nature is to sting does not mean my nature is to stop helping. The lesson is simple. Life will sting you. People will hurt you. Problems will try to drown you. But what matters is not the pain, it is how you respond. Do you sit down and cry about how unfair life is? Or do you keep moving forward? A farmer wakes up one morning and finds that a storm has destroyed his crops. He has two choices. He can sit down and cry about how much he has lost, or he can get up, plant new seeds, and rebuild. The storm is not in his control, but his response is. This is where most people fail in life. They let their problems define them. They get stuck in the past, repeating the same story about how life is unfair, how people did them wrong, how things never go their way. But tell me this, does sitting and complaining change anything? If you want to move forward, if you want to succeed, then train your mind to look for solutions instead of problems. The moment you shift your focus, your entire world changes. A businessman once lost everything. His company collapsed, his investments failed, and his bank account hit zero. Many people in his position would have given up, fallen into depression, and blamed the world. But instead of focusing on what he had lost, he focused on what he could still do. He sat down with a pen and paper and wrote a new plan. He told himself, if I built it once, I can build it again. 5 years later, he was wealthier than ever. What if he had spent those 5 years crying over his failure? He would have remained at rock bottom. But because he focused on solutions, he turned his failure into a comeback. Now, ask yourself, how many times have you wasted energy focusing on what went wrong instead of looking for ways to make it right? How many opportunities have you missed because you were too focused on the problem to see the solution? Life is always going to test you. You will lose money. You will lose people. You will lose opportunities. But in every loss, there is a hidden door. And that door only opens when you train your mind to look for it. Think of an architect. When they design a building, they do not focus on the cracks in the ground. They focus on how to build on top of it. When an engineer sees a broken bridge, they do not waste time crying over it. They ask, how can we make it stronger? This is how you must think. Instead of saying, why did this happen to me? Start asking, what can I do about it? Instead of saying, I have lost everything, say, what can I build next? Instead of saying, I don't have the resources, say, how can I create them? Because at the end of the day, the problem is not the problem. The real problem is how you see it. Two people can go through the same storm. One drowns and the other builds a boat. The question is, which one will you be? Dete from T nice. The world is loud. Everywhere you go, there is noise. People talking, phones ringing, news flashing, opinions flying from every direction. Everyone has something to say, something to argue about, something to criticize. The world never stops making noise. But the real question is, do you need to listen to all of it? Most people do not realize that the greatest enemy of peace is not chaos. It is distraction. It is the constant noise that pulls your mind in 100 different directions, making you forget who you are, where you are going, and what truly matters. Some people wake up in the morning and the first thing they do is check their phone, dive into social media, listen to every opinion, and absorb every piece of negativity the world throws at them. And then they wonder why they feel exhausted before the day has even begun. There is a reason why the most powerful, most successful, and most peaceful people in history all had one thing in common. They knew how to detach from the noise. They understood that not every voice deserves their attention. Not every argument needs their response. Not every distraction is worth their time. Imagine you are standing in the middle of a marketplace and 100 people are shouting at you. Some are calling your name. Some are criticizing you. Some are trying to sell you something. Some are gossiping about you, and some are just making noise for no reason. If you stand there and try to respond to everyone, what will happen? You will exhaust yourself. You will lose your focus. You will waste your energy on things that do not matter. But if you walk away from the noise, if you focus only on where you are going, you will reach your destination without being distracted. Life is exactly like that marketplace. Every day you will be surrounded by noise, opinions, negativity, distractions, drama, and endless chatter. But the strongest people are those who do not allow the noise to enter their mind. They choose what to listen to. They choose where to put their focus. There was once a man who was criticized by everyone around him. No matter what he did, people had something negative to say. At first, he tried to explain himself. He argued, he defended himself. He fought back. But no matter what he said, the criticism never stopped. One day, an old wise man told him, "If a dog barks at the moon, does the moon come down to argue with the dog?" The man shook his head. The wise man smiled and said, "Then why do you argue with people who do not matter? Rise above the noise. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every comment needs a response. Not every opinion deserves your attention." The greatest mistake people make is trying to please everyone, impress everyone, and respond to everyone. But the moment you do that, you become a slave to the noise. You allow others to control your peace. Think of a river. When a rock is thrown into it, the river does not stop flowing. It does not turn around to argue with the rock. It keeps moving forward. This is how your mind should be. No matter what distractions come your way, keep flowing. Keep moving forward. Do not allow the noise to stop you. A businessman once made a decision that many people did not like. They criticized him, attacked him, called him names. Instead of responding to every accusation, he smiled and kept working. People thought he was weak. They thought his silence meant defeat. But what they did not realize was that while they were busy making noise, he was busy building. Years later, his success spoke so loudly that the noise around him disappeared. That is the power of detachment. When you refuse to be affected by negativity, when you choose to protect your peace instead of fighting meaningless battles, you win. The world is full of distractions designed to pull you away from your goals. Drama, gossip, criticism, unnecessary arguments. All of these are traps that steal your energy. And the moment you step into them, you lose sight of what truly matters. There is an old saying, "You will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks." Some people spend their entire lives throwing stones. They respond to every insult. They engage in every argument. They try to prove themselves to everyone. But tell me this, when was the last time arguing with someone changed your life for the better? When was the last time responding to negativity helped you succeed? Great minds understand that peace is more valuable than proving a point. If something does not serve your growth, let it go. If a conversation does not bring value to your life, walk away. If a person constantly drains your energy, create distance. There was once a man who was deeply insulted at a public gathering. Everyone expected him to react, to defend himself, to fight back. But instead he laughed. Someone asked him, "Why are you laughing? He just insulted you." The man smiled and replied, "If a person gives you a gift, but you refuse to accept it, who does the gift belong to?" The person answered, "It still belongs to the one who offered it." The man nodded and said, "Then I refuse to accept his insult. It belongs to him, not me." This is the secret to true strength. True strength is not in arguing, not in reacting, not in fighting battles that do not matter. True strength is in detachment, the ability to walk away from things that do not deserve your energy. Most people are tired not because of hard work, but because of mental exhaustion. They carry too much unnecessary weight. They fill their minds with opinions, negativity, and distractions that do not serve them. And then they wonder why they feel drained. If you want to succeed, if you want to find peace, train your mind to ignore the noise. You do not need to respond to everything. You do not need to fight every battle. You do not need to explain yourself to people who do not understand you. Let your actions speak. Let your success make the noise. The sun does not stop shining because someone complains it is too bright. The ocean does not stop moving because someone is afraid of the waves. And you should not stop growing because of the noise around you. Protect your peace. Focus on what matters. Detach from the noise and keep moving forward. Focus every single day. Life gives you two choices. You can either focus on what you have or dwell on what you lack. Most people wake up in the morning and immediately start thinking about what is missing, what is wrong, and what they do not have. They complain about their problems, they compare themselves to others, and they fill their minds with negativity before the day even begins. But let me tell you something, whatever you focus on grows. If you focus on problems, they multiply. If you focus on blessings, they expand. There was once a man who lost everything. His business collapsed, his savings disappeared, and his friends turned away from him. He sat in his empty house, feeling broken, defeated, and hopeless. He thought his life was over. But one day, an old friend visited him and handed him a piece of paper. On it was written just one sentence. Write down 10 things you are grateful for. The man was angry. He thought, grateful. I have lost everything. What do I have to be grateful for? But his friend insisted. So with reluctance, the man picked up a pen and started writing. I am alive. I have my health. I have a roof over my head. I have food to eat. I can still learn. I can still rebuild. I have people who care about me. I have made it through hard times before. I have today a new chance. As he finished writing, something incredible happened. He felt a shift inside. He realized that even in his worst moment, he still had something. He still had life. He still had a chance. He still had hope. And from that moment on, instead of focusing on what he lost, he started focusing on what he still had. That shift in focus changed everything. He picked himself up. He started working again, and slowly he rebuilt his life. But it all started with one simple act: practicing gratitude. Most people spend their lives looking at what is missing. They say, I will be happy when I get a better job. I will be happy when I have more money. I will be happy when I find love. But let me ask you this. If you cannot be grateful now, what makes you think you will be grateful later? If you cannot appreciate what you have today, what makes you think more will satisfy you? There are people who have everything, money, success, fame, but they are still miserable. And there are people who have very little, yet they radiate joy. Why? Because happiness is not about what you have. It is about what you focus on. Imagine two people walking through the same garden. One looks around and sees only the weeds, the dirt, the things that need fixing. The other looks around and sees the beauty of the flowers, the fresh air, the sunlight. They're in the same place, but they are having two completely different experiences. One is seeing the negatives, the other is seeing the blessings. Life is the same way. Two people can go through the same situation. One sees defeat, the other sees opportunity. One sees pain, the other sees growth. One focuses on loss, the other focuses on lessons. And the one who chooses gratitude always comes out stronger. Think about this. If you woke up tomorrow with only the things you were grateful for today, what would you have left? Most people go through life taking things for granted. They do not appreciate their health until they get sick. They do not appreciate their loved ones until they lose them. They do not appreciate simple joys until they are gone. Why do we wait for loss to teach us gratitude? Why do we only see the value of something after it is taken away? Gratitude is a habit, a mindset, a way of living. And it is something you must practice every single day. No matter how bad life gets, no matter what challenges come your way, there is always something to be grateful for. You just have to train your mind to see it. There was a blind man who sat on the streets holding a sign that said, I am blind, please help. People walked by, but very few stopped to give him anything. Then One day, a man changed his sign. Instead of the original message, he wrote, "It is a beautiful day, and I cannot see it." Suddenly, everything changed. People started stopping. They started giving. They started seeing the world through his eyes. Not as something to pity, but as something to appreciate. The sun, the sky, the beauty of the day, things most people took for granted, became powerful the moment they were framed with gratitude. Every single day, life gives you something to appreciate. The fact that you are alive, that you have another chance, that you have people who love you, that you can still breathe, still think, still move forward. But if you spend all your time focusing on what is missing, you will miss the beauty of what is already there. A young boy once asked his grandfather, "Why are some people happy and others miserable?" The grandfather smiled and said, "Because of the wolves they feed." The boy looked confused. The grandfather continued, "Inside every person, there are two wolves. One is negative, always complaining, always seeing what is wrong. The other is positive, always grateful, always looking for the good. And every day, they fight." The boy asked, "Which wolf wins?" The grandfather smiled and said, "The one you feed the most." Every single day you have a choice. You can feed the wolf of negativity, or you can feed the wolf of gratitude. You can complain about what you do not have, or you can appreciate what you do have. You can focus on problems, or you can focus on solutions. Because gratitude is not just about feeling good. It is about changing your mindset, shifting your perspective, and unlocking a new way of seeing the world. When you practice gratitude, problems shrink, opportunities grow, and life becomes something to appreciate rather than something to endure. So the question is not, what do you need to be happy? The question is, what are you choosing to see? You were not born to be controlled by circumstances. You were not designed to be a prisoner of stress, fear, and frustration. The mind is like an untrained horse, wild, restless, easily distracted. But when you take control, when you master it, it becomes your greatest tool. Because the truth is, the one who controls the mind controls the outcome. History has shown us time and time again that the greatest battles are not won on the battlefield, they are won in the mind. Before a warrior steps onto the field, he has already won or lost in his head. Before an athlete runs a race, the victory is already determined in his belief. Before an entrepreneur builds an empire, success is first created in his thoughts. Because a calm mind is a focused mind, and a focused mind is a powerful mind. Most people allow their emotions to control them. They react to every little problem. If someone insults them, they respond with anger. If life throws a challenge at them, they collapse under pressure. If things do not go their way, they drown in stress. But tell me, does a storm fear the waves? Or does it rise above them? Does a lion stop hunting because the jungle is dangerous? Or does it move forward with strength? There was once a man who asked a wise mentor, "How do I stop being affected by the negativity around me?" The mentor handed him a glass of water and said, "Shake it." The man shook the glass, and the water spilled everywhere. The mentor then said, "Now, stop shaking it and let it settle." The man did as he was told. The water became still, and the mentor smiled. This is your mind. When you allow every little thing to shake you, you become restless, unfocused, and reactive. But when you let things go, when you stop reacting to every disturbance, your mind becomes clear. And when your mind is clear, you can see opportunities, you can think wisely, and you can move forward with purpose. The strongest people in history were not the loudest. They were not the ones who shouted the most. They were not the ones who let emotions take control. No, they were the ones who knew how to remain calm when everything around them was falling apart. Because calm is not weakness, calm is control. Calm is not silence, calm is power. Imagine standing in the middle of a storm. The wind is howling, the thunder is roaring, and everything around you is in chaos. Most people panic, they run, they scream, they let fear consume them. But the few who remain calm, who keep their minds clear, who do not let the storm shake them, those are the ones who survive. Those are the ones who emerge stronger. Because storms do not last forever, but the way you handle them determines whether you rise or fall. There was once a powerful king who asked his advisors, "Give me a sentence that will be true in both good times and bad times." After much thought, they returned with these words, "This too shall pass." When you are going through pain, remember, this too shall pass. When you are facing challenges, remember, this too shall pass. When life tests you, remember, this too shall pass. But when you experience success, when everything is going your way, also remember, this too shall pass. Nothing in life is permanent. Not pain, not joy, not failure, not success. But the one thing that stays with you is your ability to remain calm, focused, and in control. A great leader once said, "You will never reach your destination if you stop and throw stones at every dog that barks." In life, there will always be distractions, negativity, and obstacles trying to pull you down. People will test your patience. Situations will test your emotions. But the moment you stop reacting to everything, the moment you choose to walk past the distractions, instead of engaging with them, that is the moment you step into your true power. There is an old story of a monk who was insulted by a man in the marketplace. The man shouted at him, called him names, and tried to provoke him. But the monk remained silent and calm. The man became frustrated and asked, "Why do you not respond to me?" The monk smiled and said, "If someone offers you a gift, but you do not accept it, to whom does the gift belong?" The man replied, "To the one who offered it." The monk nodded and said, "Then I do not accept your insults. They belong to you, not me." That is power. That is mastery. That is the ability to rise above the noise, to control your emotions, and to move forward with strength. Because the world will always have noise. It will always have distractions. But you do not have to let the noise control you. You do not have to let the distractions break your focus. A ship does not sink because of the water around it. It only sinks when the water gets inside. In the same way, your mind does not collapse because of the problems around you. It collapses when you let the problems inside. There are two types of people in this world: those who react and those who respond. The ones who react are like fire. They burn quickly, they lose control, and they destroy everything in their path. But the ones who respond are like water. They remain steady, they adapt, and they flow toward their goal. Be like water. Be adaptable. Be calm. Be unshakable. Life will not always be easy. You will face challenges. You will encounter negativity. You will be tested in ways you never expected. But in those moments, remember, your power is in your peace. Your strength is in your stillness. Your victory is in your calm. No matter what happens, do not let the world shake your mind. Do not let the opinions of others steal your peace. Do not let temporary storms make you forget the sun will shine again. Because at the end of the day, the ones who master their mind, the ones who remain calm in the middle of chaos, they are the ones who rise. They are the ones who win.